just a bit about the bubble, really, Aaron, sort of how it compares to previous ones.
Yeah, that's been pretty similar, to be honest, mate. No leaving the hotel, so we're confined to the hotel space. We've been able to get out to the pool. There was no training today, as it was one of the great storms coming over the hotel, actually, mid-morning. So, masks around the hotel. No congregating with staff and things like that. So pretty similar, mate.
Do you envisage over this run of matches, particularly if all 10 go ahead with the 5 in Bangladesh as well, trying to give as many players in this enlarged squad a game? In New Zealand, you kept quite a stable side. Are you thinking about this tour any differently?
Oh, I think there's a little bit of both. We're obviously wanting to win every game that we play, every series that we play. So that's first and foremost our absolute priority. So if there's a chance to gather some information along the way, and maybe guys getting more of an opportunity, then we'll take that as it comes. But first and foremost, it's about winning.
Thanks, Aaron. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Russell Gould.
Hey, Finchy. Couple of quick ones, if I might. Just firstly, does the fact that the T20 World Cup's been officially moved to the UAE, does that sort of alter preparations or thinking or anything at all in terms of what your planning might do?
No, not really, mate. I think similar conditions in India to the UAE. I think there's going to be a little bit of cricket on them surfaces beforehand, and having played there quite a bit over the last 4 or 5 years, I think that we'll be okay in terms of how our planning's gone compared to if it was in India. So not a huge amount of difference. We expect the wickets to be pretty similar, little bit of turn, and probably turning more and slowing up as the tournament goes on.
And just a second one, just on obviously you've got a new look sort of squad with you there, and just wondering if, as skipper, you spoke to any of the guys who opted not to come, to just sort of get an idea on their thinking. And obviously there's no guarantees that they get back in when the World Cup comes around and that sort of thing. Whether you actually spoke to them and got their views on why they didn't want to come.
Yeah, it was all around the bubble fatigue. Guys having a long summer. I think when we go back to the start of the hubs and bubbles, to go from lockdown onto a tour of the UK to then IPL, a home summer, a little bit of a break for some. Other guys were in New Zealand to then go to IPL again. It can wear you down a lot, to be honest. So that was all it was. We understand that this is going to be the way of touring the world over the next couple of years, no doubt. So it's just about guys trying to manage themselves and making sure that they're giving themselves every opportunity to play for Australia.
You are close to plenty of them. Did you get a sense that that they really were feeling it? Some of them, or any of the ones you spoke to, more than others, maybe?
Oh, it's hard to say when you're not around them. Actually, physically, it's hard to see.
Rob Forsyth.
Hey, Aaron. This is the first time Justin and the broader squad has got together since reports about unease. I was just wondering if that topic was raised at all by JL, either upon landing or in any of those pre-departure meetings in Queensland.
Yeah, over the couple of days on the Gold Coast, we had a great camp there at the Royal Pines. The ability for JL to address some issues that came up in the review with Tim Ford, I think that was brilliant from him to tackle them head on, and I suppose just put his side of the story, put his spin on it, and I think just that shows the quality of the man that he is, things that he's working on, and we're all behind him 100%. The way that he's coached Australia in the last couple of years since he's taken over has been fantastic. I think we've had some really good success as well. So it's no doubt it was quite confronting for him at the time, but he took it head on and addressed that, and it was great. It was very positive from our point of view.
And in terms of those things to work on, what kind of stood out that he said he wanted to do a bit differently, or what? Is it just sort of seeking more feedback, or what?
Oh, I think that there was a combination of a few things. I think on the back of a lot of bubbles as well, I think that there was he could have used his assistants a little bit better and just delegated in that regard. But it was all there was nothing groundbreaking in it. It was stuff that every player and every coach would reflect on themselves, and he's no different. He's done a fantastic job, and the way that he confronted that and the way that it was received by the players was outstanding.
Thanks, mate.
Andrew Wu.
Yeah, g'day, Aaron. Just wanted to ask about the tour in later in the year when you head to the World Cup, and just how the IPL might fit in for some of the players. I mean, given the IPL and the World Cup will be in the same place, would it be in I guess everyone's interest for the IPL guys to be able to play that, given the the similar conditions, and get that sort of extra time adjusting to those conditions?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what decisions have been made in that regard, mate. I think that having a World Cup, or having potentially IPL and then leading straight into a World Cup, I think guys have shown with how difficult it is to be away in hubs and bubbles for such a long period of time that might be really challenging. And you have to be at your best towards the back end. Well, if you want to win it, you have to be there right at the end and 100% committed. So that's something that no doubt will be talked about. I don't have an honest answer for you on that, because I don't know the answer myself.
Yeah, is it kind of like needing to juggle, I suppose, the emotional and the mental well-being with the technical and being acclimatized as well? If that makes sense.
Yeah, it is, because I think, like I said before, if guys are getting burnt out really quickly and then they go to IPL and then you're trying to win a World Cup, and on the last day of that tournament, is that going to be too long? I'm not 100% sure. I think that this last stint might have proved that maybe shorter times away is the way to go. But I think that'll be I know that that's been discussed in the background.
Thanks.
Louis.
Yeah, thanks, Cole. Just on one of the guys who's missing, Marnus Labuschagne, Glamorgan announced that he's going to be heading back to Australia next month. Just like, I guess, given McDermott and Christian kind of came over to Australia and did the quarantine, and Marnus obviously didn't do that. Should he have kind of come to the Windies given that situation? Can you kind of clarify that?
Oh, I'm not 100% sure how all the logistics work, mate. So, but I know the initial plans were for Marnus to stay there and continue to play first-class cricket, have the opportunity to potentially play 14 T20 games and a handful of one-day games as well, which I think that was decided that would be really beneficial for his development in the two shorter formats of the game. And to miss that huge amount of cricket, especially in the T20 space where we've seen him develop so quickly, to be able to get 14 games extra when he potentially could have came here and sat on the bench for 10 games, if guys were in the side and took their opportunities. Yeah, I think just the ability for Marnus to keep playing and keep developing, keep experimenting with his T20 game in particular, that was the reasoning behind that, mate.
Yeah, and I mean, he said that he wants to make that T20 World Cup team. Like, would you actually consider, him hitting it out of the park in the Blast as, fodder for selection? Like, would you actually pick him off that? Yeah,
absolutely. Everyone who's performing well will be in consideration. I know Marnus is in consideration on every selection conversation you have. He's someone who just keeps developing and getting better and better. He loves the game. He loves training. He loves experimenting. So there's absolutely no reason why that wouldn't be the case.
Yeah, and just a final one from me, Aaron, just on the structure of the side, and it's something you mentioned in your press conference before you left. Can you just expand on your thinking around the 5 bowlers, 6 batters type thing that you might have changed from your thinking in previous times?
Yeah, I think when originally we were building up to the T20 World Cup being in Australia, that was a model that had worked really well for us. It worked well for us in South Africa as well, having 6 batters and 5 specialist bowlers, and not really deviating away a hell of a lot from that. I think the only time is when Maxi's chipped in with a couple of overs when the conditions and the matchups have suited. I think in conditions like this, where we expect the wickets to be a bit slower, and again, playing 5 games at the same venue, we expect that they'll start turning a little bit more. We've seen that already in the South African West Indies series. So it's a chance to tinker with that and give ourselves some more options up our sleeve when we're planning the T20 World Cup squad, and looking forward a little bit to that. Just trying to get more information and not being hamstrung, I guess, by just playing one style of cricket the whole time.
Thanks, Louis. Mel, we'll finish off with you.
Thanks, Cole. Hey, Aaron.
Yeah, Mel.
Just we've sort of spoken before about how before the 50 over World Cup, because of all the changes and players coming back and everything else, it wasn't the ideal preparation because there just wasn't time, I guess, to do that. How do you feel the preparation is? Is it just something you've got to put up with because the world is the way it is, or with the IPL being shifted and so much changes, or do you think you actually have the chance to have a solid, preparation the way you would like it?
Oh, that's a good question. I think in a perfect world, you would have everyone available all of the time, but we have to understand that guys are in different headspaces, and guys have had a really long space of time on the road away from families, and I think what makes it so difficult at the moment is families not being able to just jump on a plane and travel with the team and travel with players as well. So it's just one of those things that we're going to have to manage players a little bit differently, I guess, over the coming 12 months, 24 months, however long that this is the way that cricket is. So it just comes down to, yes, it's not the perfect preparation. I think we're not alone in that. And it's just going to give us an opportunity to continue to develop our depth and continue to find some more solutions and some more ways of doing things. And
just with the Ashes that are following so quickly as well, obviously the Test summer starts so quickly after the final finishes. Do you feel like you will get every player that you want? Do you think that there'll be some, maybe a couple of people who might make the side who instead might be sort of held back for some red ball matches and the Ashes?
No, the T20 World Cup, well, it's a World Cup, it's an international event. It's the one bit of silverware that's eluded us in our time. Anyone who is available and is selected, there'll be no management for Test cricket. I can tell you that much.
Great, thank you.